when people think of family curses, they think of addiction or mental health, infidelity, physical abuse. I don't want to bring up these hard things, but it's kind of the reality, and it's what a lot of people are going through nowadays. If someone was wronged in the past, if they were abused, abandoned, or neglected, those words alone, just the ideas alone, cause this emotional reaction for all of us. If you were wronged in the past, part of you wants to seek vengeance or seek revenge on the person. Now, I'm not saying to just accept the fault of someone else. I'm not saying to just automatically forgive them. But I want to ask you, if we stay in that traumatic event and we let that traumatic event continue to affect us every day or every time something triggers it, how much does that serve you now? You prolong that event for longer than it should. There's an element of stoicism and detachment for things that happen to us, whether it's good or bad, whether it was meant to be or we felt like it was just out of the ordinary, it shouldn't have happened. A lot of bad things happen in this world. And I don't want you to think that, just bad things happen to you or bad things happen to me. Everything happens to everyone. And I know it's a very dark thought to think that, suffering is inevitable. Sacrifice and a hard life, a difficult life is inevitable. But at the end of the day, life is hard, regardless of who you are. You're interacting with an entire world, experiencing life as one individual that has a rare experience compared to everybody else. And yes, everybody has experienced pain, just like everyone's experienced joy. So the idea of attaching ourselves to a specific emotion for the rest of our lives, or completely resisting specific emotions for the rest of our lives, or suppressing it or repressing it, at that point we can't move forward and we can't live. Now, where I'm getting to is a person that cannot detach and holds on to certain traumas and suppresses it completely until they explode. These are the types of things that cause a cycle of curses. I think when people think of family curses, they think of like addiction or mental health or infidelity, physical abuse. I don't want to bring up these hard things, but it's kind of the reality, and it's what a lot of people are going through nowadays. So when we talk about these curses, right, I don't want you to think like, oh, this one curse is sustained throughout my whole family lineage. What you have to think about is separate from that one type of curse or negative thing that happens. And once you gain altitude and look objectively at the entire thing, what you might have is a cycle and a fluctuation of different curses. You have someone who was, let's say, abandoned as a kid, and part of the defense mechanism was altruism, right? It's a very healthy thing to be altruistic. You want to help people, help kids that have been orphaned in life. So you create an orphanage for those children. Very altruistic defense mechanism. It's not a bad thing. It's a very healthy thing. But we got to be aware of what we're doing now. So when someone was neglected or abandoned in the past, and then now that person has children of their own, they might be overcompensating now. They might be overprotective, overwhelming their children because they know what it's like to be neglected. Because they felt neglected, I'm going to change the way I raise my children, and I'm going to do the complete opposite extreme of neglect, where I might be overbearing now. I might be controlling, which starts, and it keeps the cycle going. It keeps the cycle going from neglect to overbearing. Now, your children, who you are overbearing and overwhelming to, they're rebellious now. Because Mom, Dad, leave me alone, man. Like you're smothering me. So that's the cycle that I'm talking about, where we're overcompensating both sides. What I really want to get to is understanding, for one, that no one is perfect, that our parents aren't perfect, and that's okay. It's not a judgment on our parents. They did the best that they could with what they had. Now, given the circumstances, given the conditions, if your parents made wrong decisions, obviously there's this emotional attachment to that. What I was trying to get to, and what I'm trying to talk about now, is how can we find a way to stop the cycle with us? Because we recognize that there's a cycle happening. We have to take ownership of this. Take ownership of our family and stop cycles where they're at and generate good, healthy cycles. Forgiveness is a very difficult thing to talk about because a lot of times we want to hear someone apologize. We want to hear them say, I'm sorry for this reason. I'm sorry for that reason. ask for forgiveness, like, please forgive me. The reality is you might not ever get that. The people that we're looking to forgive or we're open to forgive might never even realize that they did something wrong. Now, is it their fault? Is it that person's fault if they're not capable of understanding that? No, it's the level of understanding. That's as far as they can go. That's as capable as they are. So if we wait around and wait for this person to ask for forgiveness, you might be waiting forever, and you might hold a grudge forever, and your entire life is stained with this one situation that you're waiting for someone to apologize for. So instead of seeking to forgive somebody, what I'm trying to understand with me too is to forego in order to atone. Again, with atonement, it's not necessarily like, all right, hashing things out. It's a lot of making the situation right, finding common ground. And yeah, honestly, you might not have an interaction with that person ever again. You might not have to. That's what I meant when I said, it's for me to swallow and digest and ultimately stop the cycle. It takes a lot of understanding and self-awareness of other people, and it's the most difficult thing, especially when you feel like your family has wronged you. Instead of seeking to just forgive somebody, I think we should seek to forego certain things that have happened and work hard at crafting a better cycle for us so that it stops with us, so it does not trickle down to our kids. And that's what I meant by breaking the cycles of different curses, different things that happen to our family.